In the American city of Ithaca, they decided to predict when exactly representatives of some extraterrestrial civilization will come into contact with Earthlings. After analyzing the available data, scientists came to the conclusion that this will happen at least in 1,500 years, that is, not earlier than 3516. Thus, only our distant descendants will be able to catch this epoch-making phenomenon. Unless, of course, the Americans are wrong in their forecast. Why aren't the aliens contacting us now? According to American experts, this may be explained by the so-called Fermi paradox, which is that the universe contains decillions of celestial bodies, and for intelligent aliens, our Earth is just one of these grains of sand in the desert. Perhaps the distant space is teeming with highly developed life, but our planet looks, in the eyes of the higher mind, as a poor and backward place, so the little green men do not even look here. You will not try to establish contact with ants, explains Eugene Preston, one of the authors of the prediction. At the same time, the researcher also notes that the higher mind, probably, without any hesitation and remorse, will be able to crush such ants. Therefore, in a possible armed conflict with aliens, it hardly makes sense to rely on the mercy of the invaders. By the way, the Polish astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus wrote about the ordinariness of the Earth, who argued that our planet is far from the center of the universe, but only a small speck of dust in the myriad of cosmic bodies. Recall that experts have been sending signals into space to representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations for 80 years. The speed of movement of such radio waves is equal to the speed of light, which means that today the spherical region around the Earth, in which aliens can hear us, is 80 light-years in radius. According to scientists, there are more than 8,500 stars and over 3,500 Earth-like planets. However, there is still no answer. Either intelligent life forms did not receive the signal, or they refused to answer us, or they are absent altogether. According to American scientists, after a millennium and a half, the radius of the space zone, where you can meet the message from the Earth, will be 1,580 light-years. Maybe by that time, the signal will finally reach some highly developed alien civilization, and we will receive the long-awaited response from it. Scientists' efforts are like sandbox games. In response to such predictions of scientists about the timing of when aliens will come into contact with us, ufologists and researchers supporters of the world conspiracy ironically note that the efforts of orthodox science in this direction, however, as in many others, resemble the games of kids in a sandbox. While the alien mind has long been in contact with us, and even, most likely, gave birth to our civilization, pundits continue to play children's games imposed by the general mass of Earthlings by the Illuminati in order to total control over the consciousness and behavior of people. The question arises, scientists are so naive, pretending to be such kids in the sandbox, or is it still a more adult game aimed at distracting the attention of Earthlings from the more frequent UFO flights? Most likely, the second, progressive researchers conclude. It is not surprising that American scientists are today worried about aliens, since the United States has been working hard for a long time in terms of establishing contacts with aliens. Apparently, today their secret mission begins to burst at the seams, and therefore more and more plausible explanations of what is happening in the world are required. After all, according to psychologists, for the layman there is nothing more plausible than an obvious lie, presented in good packaging, that is, on behalf of scientists and certainly through the leading media, which for some reason an ordinary person continues to trust more than his own mother.